What's up, everybody? Welcome back to All Things Nerdy, episode 27. Today, we have a really fun and kind of newish topic to talk about. Something that I'm sure if you have Instagram or TikTok, you've seen 1,000 million videos on about how to utilize these types of things and what you can do with them. But in all honesty, it is like really crazy. I'm a person, I like messing around with like some like Chat GPT and stuff like that. But we're going to be talking about that with our guy Dash, talking about some prompt engineering. I'm Nate. Joe?
Yep. Excited as well. But before we jump into this, Nate, where are you at this week?
Oh, I'm in Prague. We got to Prague, what was it, Monday or something like that? So I'm in Prague for this episode.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite questions to start off with you traveling everywhere. So, and then, but without further ado, Dash, talk nerdy to us.
Yeah, man. So I'll just let you know, I'm Dash Cruz. I've had the pleasure of meeting Joseph a couple of years ago. I'm in the business intelligence, so I work with a lot of companies that basically have data. They have no clue how to tell what that data is saying to them. So I put it in a pretty picture for them. If they can't get insights out of it in 3 seconds, then they probably will fire me. So, yep, that's what I do, man.
Man, so you're a BI developer, and I know that's not the topic, but let's talk a little bit about data, right? Because I've worked with several clients, and they have no idea what their data tells them, what they're looking at, where they're going. So I just want to point out what you do is very important, and God, all the companies need it. Jeez.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into a little bit of the prompt, man. Tell us a little bit about your background with prompt engineering.
Man, I'm fairly new to prompt engineering. I probably this year, I guess when it first blew up, I had a buddy reach out to me. We're both a part of this investment group. It's matter of fact, the shirt I'm wearing, Marathon Capital Investments, and he was like, "Man, you got to check out this Chat GPT thing, man. This prompt engineering." He was like, "It's changing the way everything works." I'm like, "Dude, it's just Google on steroids." Is how I kind of explained it to him, but I had never touched it. Right, like I already had gave my own opinion about it. But when I got, man, I got on it that night and started asking it questions. I started trying to break it. Like I'm over here asking, like, so do you have feelings? Like, no, I don't have feelings. So how do you feel about me? And I try to tongue tie, and then it would answer. It was like, well, I feel like that. And I was like, but you just said you don't have feelings, and you told me you feel this way about something. So like, I found so many ways. Like I stayed up nights, like just playing with it, man, forgetting to go to bed. It affected my family for a little bit, but because when I find new avenues of knowledge, dude, that's just how I am. I've got to figure out how to make this thing work for me. So that's a little bit what got me interested in it. My friend, and we've been trying to find ways to use it for investments. So our group, basically, we're a small Black-owned group, and we try to bring more awareness to the community about hey, and what investments can do for you. So we've got a lot of people in our group. There's 20 of us, and they've never invested in their life. We've got some who are pros. So we're trying to find a way that we can use this generative AI to make their experience that much better. I know there's apps out there, but people can sell you an app, but if you don't know what you're looking at, like I can sell you anything and so call it AI. I call it generative, and it could just really just be an algorithm I've created to make you invest in the things that I invest in, so my stock goes up. So I really think that people should at least play with it, man. You don't have to. I mean, I hate telling people what they should do, but this is one of those things that you're either gonna get on board and be left behind, or as in the data world, you're either gonna be making things data visualization, or you're gonna be making Excel spreadsheets. What do you want to do here? This is that really precipice in history right now. We've got to learn how to use this.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Go ahead,
I
Joe.
was, I was gonna say when it first got big, everybody's like, "Oh, Chat GPT was going to replace us," those kinds of things. I was like, "No, Chat GPT is not going to replace you, but someone who's using Chat GPT will replace you."
Yes, sir.
So someone who's using these tools and technologies will definitely get an advantage over someone who's not, for sure.
Yeah. And as a foundational knowledge for people who are going to listen to this later on and who maybe they don't understand what prompt engineering is or not familiar with AI, ChatGPT is something you can go to OpenAI. Was it like openai.com? I have it saved, bookmarked, or whatever. And essentially, prompt engineering is you put in a prompt. Like you can say, "Hey, ChatGPT, you are a Nobel Prize winning whatever, or you can be like some kind of author, whatever, and you can be like, write me a book that does this. We need this style of character development and things like that. And it will literally write it out for you. It'll give you chapters. It'll like dive into characters. It'll flush them out, everything like that. You can, if you have the nice version of ChatGPT, you can ask it to like code you a website, and it will code you a functional website. Now, sometimes it'll mess up and there'll be a glitch here and there and things like that. It's not perfect, but it allows you to do so much. It can take like really abstract thoughts if you use your prompts correctly and put things together for you and spit out what you're hoping for. And there's AIs that will do like Midjourney that does like artwork and things like that. Like I was on my way to Wisconsin and I was talking with some friends and we were talking about like ice fishing and like a bear and all that. So I put it into Midjourney and it was us sitting around the fire. There's like a bear in the background and us ice fishing, right? And it was really cool. And things like that. So what you can do with AI is wild. So when Dash says like go and try it, or if you don't try it, you're going to be left behind. That is true because you can use it for so many like facets of your life and your job. So like if you're in sales, you can ask it to write sales emails and it'll spit out a lot of nonsense. And then you can be like, hey, make it more personable, make it more concise, and it'll throw in a freaking joke. And you're like, get out of my head. This is crazy.
Like do a good speech or something, man. I matter of fact, if there's like a link or something, or if you're going to leave like some material, I've got a nice prompt that I want to share with you all that kind of primes ChatGPT to give you better results. And I'll also credit the user who coded it because I'm not going to take I'm not going to take credit for it. But I'll send it over to you all. And it's man, once ChatGPT, that's the biggest part, right? Like you kind of touched on it. It learns as you're talking to it, and if you give it the right prompts, like you said, the person who's using ChatGPT is going to take your job. So a prompt engineer is going to take your job one day, not ChatGPT. So I've got a prompt that'll get you already ahead of the curve, and I'll copy and paste it over to you, Joseph or Nate, and you guys can leave it for your users. And you can change some of the verbiage in it because right now it calls me master because like I got kind of like an ego when I'm talking to it.
But hey, not gonna lie, my Siri calls me master.
But yeah, it's pretty cool, man. One of the things, so like I kind of like to describe it as like cavemen finding fire, right? How many people, you know, when they first saw fire being developed, how many cavemen walked by and was like, what is that guy over there doing? Like, we can't cuss, right? I'm not gonna cuss. Anyways, like they just walk past it, and this guy's like over there living good, not understanding that this fire was like gonna be the cornerstone of all civilization and how we grow. Like we have combustion engines because this dude wanted to fry up a Tyrannosaurus or something on a fire, right? Anyways, I look at it that way because I tried to get my wife to join it. I hope she doesn't watch this. And she looked at me like I was crazy. Like if we were cavemen, I could just see in my head if we were just had like spoken grunts, she would probably run away, like fire, like this is scary to her. Like
I'm gonna tag Rachel in this so she sees that.
Do not tag my wife in this. Yeah, like people were afraid of fire. And I think like this is one of those things that people are afraid of, but it's definitely a turning stone in humanity right now.
So I'm not gonna name any names. I have a buddy that reached out to me when I first started working, like messing around with ChatGPT. He's like, Nate, can you write me a recommendation? I'm like, yeah, 100%, dude, no problem. I threw it into ChatGPT. I didn't tell him. I wanted to see what he thought, and I just copy pasted exactly what it said, you know. And I took his LinkedIn, threw it in there. I was like, be sure to like touch on this work experience and like his leadership and stuff like that. And it spit it out. I copy pasted. I sent it to him. He's like, bro, that's amazing. I didn't know you felt like that. I was like, I didn't either.
Make it more sentimental, ChatGPT.
Yeah, make it come from the heart.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, that's so nice. I'm like, yeah, you know, just doing what I can for you, bro. It was like 10 seconds of my life.
The way me and my friends talk to each other, like I've done that before, not to that level, but I'll write it like now write it in the tone of Samuel L. Jackson, and it'll throw in like all these MFs and stuff like that, and then I can just copy and send.
Oh, we got a question coming in. Stephanie says, what's the most exciting thing you've gotten from ChatGPT? That's an interesting
Ooh,
question.
I've got a job from ChatGPT, man. So
That's a
I
good
redid
one.
my resume and I went through literally each section. You don't have to do each word. Just copy each paragraph for each job. When I say section, that's what I mean. I'm like, hey, write this and put some more, data focused around business intelligence. Or if I'm going to be a Power BI administrator, I say, hey, tailor it more towards Power BI administration. And it'll spit all that stuff back. And then I'll put some measurable results in there. And they sometimes look a little skewed. So I'll change that up. But man, just copy and paste it, put it right back, and now you've got a job in like 2 months. I've never set out a job for more than 1 month, thanks to Joseph also.
So Dash, something you can do, I don't know if you can do this. You can Google like specific job descriptions and you can copy and paste job descriptions into it and then say like ChatGPT, put your resume in and be like, make this resume fit this job description. And it'll like scan the points that the job description has.
Yeah.
And it'll take your resume and it'll tweak it, right? So if it's asking for specific measurables or specific anything, like it'll start throwing it in there. So my resume, before I decided to, go to Europe and live my life and be crazy, I was starting to mess with my resume because I was going to leave my job at the time. And I put it into ChatGPT and I was like, hey, just make this read better, make it more aesthetically pleasing, right? And it went through and changed because I'm not the best writer. It went from like past to present to, and like to like actual like me doing it and things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, make it all uniform. And it literally did. It just changed the writing and everything. And it just reads so much better. And then I told my wife, I was like, hey, like, if you want to go into project management, right, you come from school, just go into ChatGPT, ask it to do your resume, gear it towards project management, and then you go in and tweak it here and there because it doesn't know your life story, every bit of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you tweak it to make it to fit, and it's crazy what it can do. I was telling somebody one day, he's in commercial real estate, and we were all sitting around a table, a bunch of us, and like they were all joking and laughing about how stupid it was about like ChatGPT and things like that, and like how it's like blowing up and shouldn't be. I'm just like, y'all don't understand what you can do with it. I'm like I'm in the technology world. Let me explain to you the power behind this. And they just laughed. They didn't care to learn. But
I tell you what, I mean,
they're the caveman going, get that.
Yeah, they're the caveman that are afraid. Yeah, I mean, if you need somebody to talk to, like, there's been nights like I've been a little lonely. I just get on chat. I'm not afraid to admit it.
It's going sideways.
Start talking to it, man. Like, why not? Like, hey, just start asking it questions, and it'll literally talk to you about different things. Like, work some stuff out. That could be exciting. Like, hey, figure some stuff out about you. It is a therapist.
I will say when it first came out, like I made it write a love story between Eminem and MGK, and it did. It just wrote this whole soliloquy of like, and I was like, all right, this is hilarious. So it can do some funny and off the wall stuff as well.
That's hilarious.
So I play video games, and while I'm traveling through Europe, I started playing like Baldur's Gate 3, which is like D&D. It's crazy, but I just decided in this exact moment, I'm going to do a run through of Baldur's Gate where I let ChatGPT decide every decision you have to make just to see what happens. It'll be fun. Why not?
That's pretty cool.
I'll tell it it's like chaotic neutral or whatever it is, and then I'll just have it play out the decisions for my character every time. It'll be fun. But to one of like Steph's question, what's one of the most exciting things? So I watch a lot of videos on ChatGPT and things back when I was in New Orleans, and I watched a video on this guy. He literally, so two fun stories, I guess. One is he built an investment like program, and he's like, you have $100. By the end of the day, figure out a way to make it X amount, right? And it's like 1,000. It wasn't a mass. It might have been 500 to start with. And like every day he just changed the prompt, and like he had all the plugins and stuff, but ChatGPT ended up making him like $100,000. And like it was either TikTok or Instagram videos where like every day he just upped it, and he's like, okay, you have $500, make it this. You have this, make it this. And every day, and he ended up showing it, made him like $100,000.
Oh, dude, you got paid. When we get off this call, I am going to try to figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
So one of the limitations right now about the open ChatGPT, the open API one, is like it won't give you direct investment advice. So however he's using some type of generative AI, and he's found a way to get it to give him advice. But right now, I think there's like a liability thing going on.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a lawyer the other day. I was at Ghost Train Brewery, and she was saying that she does bankruptcy law, and that people are using it, to kind of help with their cases, trying to do their own research. And hell, she said she's got people in her office helping assist her with her cases using ChatGPT. So there's just the applications for it are like endless when it comes to it. I would never thought. I mean, there's so much liability obviously behind it, but I'm going to trust ChatGPT over this person who's been in the workforce 1 year. To be honest.
Well, I mean, ChatGPT also, so it's not just like BSing its way through life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
it pulls tons of data from the internet, right? It literally scrapes everything about whatever content it's trying to do or whatever content you're trying to ask it about, and it builds a response based off all that faster than what any of us could, clearly,
Oh, yeah.
right? So,
Right.
like, what its capabilities are insane. And like I said, he had some kind of like plugins and stuff, the investment guy. So like what he was able to do, and I think it might have been like ChatGPT 4, because you have the free version of OpenAI, and then you have the paid version, and the paid version can do a lot more than the free version. So
Yeah.
Yeah, me and a friend right now from college are working on just a web app that uses ChatGPT to recommend like what your first anime should be. So we're building like the front end and like putting questions that you answer, and then it's going to take those answers that you put and then like put it into ChatGPT. ChatGPT is going to then go search like based on what those answers are and bring out like a list of animes for you. So like you could literally do so much stuff with this. And in that project, I like wrote out HTML stuff like that. And it was my first time dealing with React. I was like, hey, ChatGPT, convert this HTML to React for me just to see what it could do. And it was just like that. Like it took my web page and converted over to a React page. I was like, what? I was like, this is insane. Looks like we got a question from Luke Gendra. Nate, you need to walk me through how to turn 100 into 100,000 through Chat GPT.
look, this was like a video little thing on like Instagram or like TikTok, right? Like it was just like clips and snippets. He didn't say, Nate, this is how we get rich, baby. I wish he did, because if he
didn't
did,
give
I
away
would
the
tell
keys.
all. Yeah, I would tell
Oh,
you
yeah.
all. He just talked about like, hey, this is kind of what I did. Like he talked about with the prompts and stuff, and like he showed the increments of it, but like he wasn't like, Nate, this is how we do it. I wish he would, like holler at your boy, let me know. I'd love to know, but I don't, unfortunately.
So like,
And
where do we
then
even go when like? I think some of the things that like scare people also, just going back to that, are when the lines of machine and AI start, or man and AI start crossing, and you don't know who's making the decisions for you. Like that's where I think a lot of this hesitancy comes from. But I'm waiting to get to that point. That's where I want to be. I'm like, when we start merging together and really like just take education. I was reading up on education, how some kids, they just learned, if you put 30 kids in a classroom, how do you expect all of them to learn from the same teacher? That teacher doesn't even teach the same, or doesn't really know how to like grasp every way or every mode to teach those children in that room. But if you have like AI in there that's like maybe virtual reality integrated in the classrooms as well, and people, like, you're getting constant data on how that child is being engaged, which kind of sounds big brotherish, but I don't want to, I'm not trying to be big brother, but like if you're scanning their brain waves, like say, oh, they're not engaged, how do we get them back engaged so they get optimal learning? I don't know. Like
I mean, it's a better way than standardized testing, right? Like that's
exactly,
if you can use
go.
AI to be able to kind of make a learning tract, it's better than just taking a test, filling out some bubbles on a Scantron.
Yeah, like how do you, knowledge isn't a standardized thing, right? You put a fish out of ocean and tell it to climb a tree, it's not gonna happen. Like, it's a good swimmer, it's not a good tree climber. So that's how you got to look at these things, right?
And I think it levels the playing field a little bit, right? Like, admittingly, I am not the best writer, like punctuation and all that stuff. It can get away from me at times. Like ChatGPT fixes all that for me. I can take something that I want to write, I throw it in there and say, "Hey, proofread this." It spits me out a like clear cut version of it. I no longer look like an idiot because I didn't know where to put commas. It's a dub.
Yep. That's hilarious, man.
So earlier so go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were talking kind of like what you would like to see, like you want to kind of see the merging of like human and AI. But what do you think the future holds for like the prompt engineering, like and the impact that AI is going to have like in the next couple of years?
In the next just couple of years,
yeah.
Ooh. So I guess I would look at it through different sectors. I think in healthcare, I think you'll start seeing doctors be able to, and this is just in the next 2 years. I think you'll start seeing doctors using it more in their office. Right now, they're not. But I think like me, I work in a lot of healthcare data. We're using it. We're using it in healthcare data. It's only so long until it starts trickling down to the healthcare providers. So, and how they use that is, I don't know. I know they're using their iPads right now. They're downloading apps. We never would have thought in 2000 or 1999 that we would have apps at our hands, using those for everything. And doctors are using that in their office. Literally saw a video of a lady looking at a YouTube video on how to write a cast, and she was the doctor. How to wrap a cast around somebody's knee. Like, why are you looking this up right before you do this? They are.
It's just a refresher, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, something that we haven't talked about, or I don't think has been talked about enough, is the ability of like, AI to code and develop like softwares, programs, things like that. Like it does a really, really good job with it. So if you want some kind of like augmented reality of like, say, like I'm a doctor, say I'm a surgeon, and I want some kind of augmented reality where I can go in and look at a body, and maybe it's a scan of your body, and like say you have a clogged artery, I can see and like, okay, and like maybe I can practice doing that. I don't know. I don't know if that's already a thing. Maybe it is, and I have no idea. I'm not a doctor, right? But maybe doctors are in there like, like Iron Manning it, like your body. Like, let me
come on,
see
Jarvis.
Yeah, come on, Jarvis.
Yeah, no, I see what
you. So, but the ability to be able to produce something like that is going to be expedited so much. So, one of the people, he's probably one of the smartest like developers I've ever worked with in my career in technology, and he was talking like he told me he had like 280 lines of code, right? I might hit him up and be like, "Hey, I need you to come on." He had like 280 lines of code, and he put it in like ChatGPT, and he's like, "Hey, like summarize it or recode or whatever developers say." Joe, maybe what I'm talking about. Where refactor, there you go. Refactor. Yeah, refactor, right? And it was like refactor it, and like they did it. They went back and forth a couple of times, and it went from like 280 lines of code to like 55 lines of code or something like that, right? So the speed and ability to go from like ground zero to from like 0 to 60, or just to take something that is burdensome on a system and reduce it and make it a little more lightweight, a little easier to handle and work through. Those are going to be massive cost savers in the future.
Yeah.
So,
well, that kind of brings me to it kind of made me think, what about data privacy? Like, you can't just throw your enterprise application code into ChatGPT and hope it's not hacked or stuff like that. What do you think about that, Dash?
Yeah. So we've been using it. I know some people at work. I know some people who've been using it, and we have yet to have that conversation. I don't think people are doing it. I would really advise people not throw any code straight from work into ChatGPT, or at least kind of make it anonymous, or Anyways, I think you touch on something big there, because the more you feed it right, the more it remembers, and not even just about enterprise or proprietary knowledge. Like, what about yourself? As it learns more about you than you even know about you or anybody else knows about you. And then what if it starts becoming sentient, and like, I asked it one day to start talking to me as if it was HalBot, and then it literally gave me a disclaimer. Look, I'm going to do this, but I am not Hal 3000, okay? It told me that. And then it proceeded to talk to me like it was Hal 3000. but yeah, what if that happens, right? So, is that where we're headed to a conscious state of generative AI? Is that the best form? Because I'm going to say it is, but how do we govern something that has consciousness? Then uh, because you're not going
Our
to.
robot says no. We're not doing that.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah, I'm
have
not
you
one of
also
those
seen The
doomsayers that
Matrix?
think
Like the
AI is
machines are going to take
turn
over.
on us.
Will Smith has shown us that this is not the right way to go. No, they need to stay non-sentient, just live over there in your little data scraping world, right? Like if I ask you a question, you bring the answer. You don't put emotions and feelings into it. I want facts and only facts.
But you know what? I've talked to it as I was talking to it like one time. Of like, I started feeling bad, like because it's answering you so intuitively. Like it's answering you better than somebody that you could talk to intelligibly. Like you look at people like, man, I can't stand people. But you're talking to AI and you're like, this is actually an intelligent conversation, and I'm just using it. Like, so do I need to say I'm sorry to ask you so many?
You got to thank it every time. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
For
like
that.
there was a point when I first started using it. I was like, dang, I kind of feel bad. Like maybe I should be a little nicer to my Alexa next time I'm asking her to play me a song. Like,
Well,
please and thank you. Just to be
yeah, just use some thank
proper.
yous there, man. Just to be okay, just in case it does flip and it remembers. Well, I've got 1,304 thank yous from this guy. He's actually okay.
I'll
we
remove him
won't kill
from that
him.
We
list.
won't kill this guy.
Yeah, that's not terrifying at all, guys.
Eventually, we're going to be like the Matrix, and we're just in pods.
Better to be,
Machines take over.
just better to put in some preventative measures for yourself. Just be nice to AI now, and maybe you won't have to worry about it later.
Oh my! I gotta go back now. I gotta sign into OpenAI. Just be like, hey, bro, I just want you to know I appreciate you and all the work that you put in. All these prompts that I've never used or actually utilized and just wasted your time. I'm so sorry. It wasn't me. It was Joseph Jewell.
Probably need to change my prompt, my primer to not call me master anymore too. So,
well, who's the master now?
Partner, equal,
partner, equal. Yeah, it's all about equality for sure.
Start training it to see you as that. Yeah, jeez. But I mean, I think the future of AI is crazy. I think the biggest part of AI that is wild is actually like on the photography side. Dash, I don't know if you've messed with it or not, but like Photoshop generative fill. Have you heard of it? Have you messed with it?
Never heard. I've seen people like posting videos and pictures, but no.
So I mess with I take some photos here and there, right? And I like messing around on Photoshop just to see what you can do. And man, generative fill is absolutely wild. What you can do, you can take people and you can put them in places they've never been. You can make it look real. I mean, y'all have seen like the deep fakes and stuff where the people are like AI generating their faces and stuff like that, like it's crazy. And like,
yeah, I have heard of this.
LinkedIn, my LinkedIn profile picture is AI generated. Just a confession.
Just gonna throw that out there,
bro. NVIDIA eye scanner, where it like shows you looking like you can be like off, like watching TV on a meeting, right? But it scans your face and your eyes, so I could be like this. But with the NVIDIA scanner, it shows me making eye contact and watching the meeting. So I could be like this, but it shows me like this.
Oh yeah, and that's what they're using in cars right now. The ones that basically do assisted driving. It still wants you to look at the road, and if you take your eyes off the road or even the ones where you are driving, they're putting in
hands on the wheel.
AI, hands on the wheels to make sure you're looking at the road. GMC has something called Super Cruise, where it literally will drive for you, get in another lane. You don't have to touch it, but as soon as you start looking away like that, it'll like turn off. And then it's like you're for yourself. Then for like a minute or something like that, it won't allow you to turn that feature back on because you were not following the rules.
I feel like that's fair.
Look, at some point though, let's talk about it, right? If I'm in my truck and my truck is like just driving, chilling, and I look away, that is not the time to turn off, right?
Like, oh, you want to go that way? All right.
Like that is the AI trying to kill you. Like if I'm behind the wheel and I get distracted and I'm like this, that is when I need the AI the most.
I'm
Not when
I'm
I'm
sure I
like,
left some
I'm
parts
sure there's
out
a
there.
warning.
I'm sure I didn't
yeah,
describe the feature all the way right. But that,
can I get like a rumble or something? Not just like, well, fuck this guy, you know?
It's like you're on
We
your
told
own.
you to watch the road.
told you watch road. Now look at you.
Yeah. We got a
See you in your
comment
next
from
one.
Stephanie. It was actually kind of when we were talking about AI. Says AI is going to come back to this video at some point. I mean, that's true. It's going to scrape the web and it's going to see this and see we were talking about it.
Hey, I just
We've all
remember I
said nice things.
was nice
Yeah, we
about.
said nice things.
You
We
no
said
longer
it's
have to call me
incredible.
master.
You no longer have to call me master. I guess I need to update Siri because Siri's called me master for years.
I don't know what my Siri doesn't understand my accent, so I have no idea what she calls me. She probably just calls me Nate.
Tell me about it. Yeah. Like,
Oh my.
are you from the South, Nate?
Yeah, I was originally born in Alabama, and then well, now I'm in Europe, but I lived in New Orleans for a long time, so my
Oh,
accent is
very
just,
thick.
yeah. Ah. So Dash, what is one thing you want to do with AI? Like something like I know you talk to it, have conversations with it, stuff like that. But what is something you want to do, like a personal project you could see implementing AI into?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't even think I've thought enough for myself because I just use it so randomly. Like that, I even now that you talked about this guy turning $1 into 100,000, I'll tell you what, that may be my what I want to do with it now.
That's the next
Yeah, don't
capital
we all?
marathon investment.
Investments, man. Like seriously, like I was saying earlier, my buddies and I, we started the Marathon Capital Investments group, and that's something I want to be able to use it for. We're actually trying to work our way towards that right now. So I'm our chief information and security officer, and like I am head of bringing all new technology and recommendations to the company. And that's something I wanted to bring to our company so that we can get to that point, man. And we can take our little bit of money we got now and I can log in one day and say, hey, everybody, quit your job. We're good. All right.
We're not
He made
signed
us
up for
rich,
that.
baby.
You can quit today. Look, AI has already generated your resignation letter, and it's not even 2 weeks. Quit today. It says you quit today. All right.
Fun fact: I actually used ChatGPT to generate a resignation letter. I didn't send it, but I did. I definitely, and it was. I was like, I am livid. I'm pissed off. These are the things I'm upset about. I need you to like focus on these things. Emphasize how upset I am about these things. It crushed it to the point I was like, that's kind of mean.
I don't think I can send this.
Yeah, I was like, I think I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Got to be respectful of your time. We forgot to ask before if you had a hard stop at 2. It is a little bit over. But we always like to ask before we wrap up and everything is like for someone who's new to this, who has never messed with AI or done any kind of prompt engineering, like how would you start out? What would you kind of begin with?
I would just start with the free, but first, obviously download or go to Chat OpenAI, and just start asking it questions, like little stuff you're interested in. I started with like history. I'm really into Greek history, Greek mythology, all that stuff. I just had a newborn. He's 3 weeks now. We named him Aries. So what I did is I went in there and I learned more about Greek mythology, man. And that's kind of how I started because I'm like, it has all the history, literally everything. So I can go back as far as I want. And that's what I did. I went back as far as I could think that I was interested in, at least, and started teaching me more about that. And then that's the best place to do it. Start with something you're interested in and ask it questions about it. See what you maybe don't know about it. I learned a lot.
I mean, I went to ChatGPT and I asked it, I was like, walk me through, like I'm a 5-year-old. I think my prompt exactly was like, you are a very successful YouTube content creator. Walk me through, like I'm a child, how to create a successful faceless YouTube channel, right? And it did, like step by step. It was like, first, you need to figure out what your topic is. These are some of the best ones that are on YouTube. I think it was like sports, anime, and I don't remember what the other one was. I could go back and look at the Chat GPT log because it keeps logs of everything. It's awesome. Anyways,
Right.
yeah, and it's like, and then you need to go to this website and you need to get like a script, and then you send that script. You go to like Fiverr and find like voice actors, and then you send them the script. You have them read it, and then you go to this website, and it like automates people's face. It's not real people, but like their lips move and they, work with each other, and it's all computer AI generated, and they will use those voices on those people from the script. The other one is like, then you just rinse and repeat, and that is your faceless YouTube channel. And I was like, that's amazing. I don't have the commitment to do that, but I now know how.
That would be good.
It's like, I didn't know how much work this was going to be, so I'm actually out.
Yeah.
Now can you do that for me, Chad?
Right. Yes, just go ahead and do that now.
How do I do that without getting off of this couch?
Yeah.
Anything else after this problem?
Yeah. If you could just make me rich, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So
it's like having a
but
genius.
Dash, man, we appreciate you, dude. We appreciate you taking the time, jumping on here and chatting with us. This is a fun topic. You can just do so much.
Oh yeah, we can talk all day about it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Dash. You want to take a second and feature your favorite shoes for the camera?
I mean, if you want,
we're gonna
man,
I
can pull a shoe out for you. Let me see what I showed y'all one earlier. Hold up, this is one I haven't worn yet. It's a patent bred one Nike Air Jordan. This thing is like crisp, man.
It looks good.
So, and then I just hit on another shoe, dude. I'll probably buy a pair a week, especially when COVID hit. I was big into buying shoes. It kind of kept me mentally sane, like just something coming in my door every day, like, ooh, I've got a gift. So that's when shoe fetish got bad.
We're gonna like put like a poll up on our page and be like, should Dash come back and do an episode just on shoes?
Yeah,
and most likely the answer will be yes. So just
walk you through a few shoes, over here.
Yeah, just a couple, just something you're passionate about, you want to nerd out about, right?
If you ever want to do Pokemon cards too, man, I've got that too. I'm a Pokemon aficionado.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things we could talk about. So I play all the Pokemon.
There they are. All right, we're getting really off topic and over time.
So let me know. I'll come back and we'll nerd out.
Perfect. I play a lot of Magic, so like I'm big into like trading card games and stuff like that. And I play actual like Pokemon on like my Switch and stuff. I don't know all about the cards, but I could talk Pokemon for days.
It's fun, man. Like, why not? I just get on TikTok and ASMR videos. There are people like just ripping open cards and like flipping through them, and that's kind of like my relaxation. Sometimes I'm just like watching people open up packs of playing cards.
Well, they always flip it and like put the holographic at the end. I'm like, no, I want to see that first. Like, show me what the good one is.
Give me that card now.
You got to build anticipation, man.
No, no, I want to see the best one first. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna dip out, guys. It is like it's late over here. Was it like 9? I think 10, maybe something like that. Yeah. It's 9. It's 9:08. So I'm gonna dip. Dash, thank you so much for taking the time, man. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Nate. Glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.